devices have been around for quite a while. The age of the smart TV came along, and people who didn't have smart TVs, that wanted smart TVs but couldn't afford smart TVs, could just get these little boxes that would plug into your TV and give you some functionality that you would see in the higher end TV. You would think that after a while that sort of craze would die down, but it hasn't, which is great because it's led us to this point where we now have super high powerful streaming devices that we can put in our home that serve a heap of different functions, I guess. I'm no stranger to having media boxes or set-top boxes. I don't even know what to call them. Anyway, I've had an array of different ones. I've had your Fire Sticks, I've had Apple TVs, I've had Raspberry Pis. The market has been missing something that's an all-in-one sort of system that does everything. Apple TV is great if you want something that's plug and play. You can log into Netflix, you can log into YouTube, and you can plug it in at your parents' place and they can't really break it. Whereas your Kodi boxes, as far as Raspberry Pis are concerned, or those other cheap, nasty things that you can buy on AliExpress or whatever, they also serve a purpose, they do work, the experience isn't exactly something to write home about. Kodi itself can be a little bit finicky, and if it's running... Kodi itself is actually a little bit finicky if you don't know what you're doing and you're trying to dive into it. There's a lot of information that you need to absorb to be able to make it worthwhile. Setting up a media streaming system such as Plex or Kodi can be a little bit intimidating, but there are plenty of tutorials out there, but that's not what this video is about. This video we're going to be talking about the NVIDIA Shield. The NVIDIA Shield TV isn't exactly a new product. It launched in 2016, I believe, although that's taken until 2018 for New Zealand to get the Shield, but it's fine. Thankfully, NVIDIA's actually sent a unit over for us to review. You can check out the full review on theinsatiablegamer.com. So basically today we're going to run through what it is, the specs and all that kind of jargony stuff. Let's get that out of the way first. This is the latest version. It is the 4K model. It's not the Pro, so it's only got that 16 gig built-in storage. But to be honest, I'm not really too worried about that. Built-in storage isn't really what I wanted it for. As far as the streaming box goes, it's definitely on the higher end. They are touted as the world's fastest streaming device, which, spoiler alert, it is at right end of this. It shares the same processor as the Nintendo Switch, the Tegra X1. So as far as having a really powerful SoC, check. The remote, just like every other media streaming device, gets lost in the couch anytime you want to use it. Shelly, have you seen the remote for the Shield? Oh, I think I found it. It was on the couch. The controller design isn't overly unique. It's very similar to most media streaming boxes that you will find. It has your navigation buttons, a center confirm button, a back, a home. It also has a microphone integrated for voice control, the Insatiable Gamer, which actually surprisingly is very good with the New Zealand accent. The other thing that's quite cool about the remote is the volume control. So system-wide volume can be controlled using the space in between. The box itself is actually reasonably good looking as well. It's very sleek, it's got those nice angular designs that NVIDIA seems to favour these days. The ports on the back, you will find an HDMI port, a USB Type-C for power, an Ethernet port, and two USB 3 ports. It has a nice wee status LED on the top that glows green, has wireless AC, it can stream at 4K 60Hz with HDR. It's pretty much, if you can think of it as far as a media streaming device, it's in there. There's a full list of technical specs on the written review itself if you are that way inclined, like myself. Let's talk about some of the main features of this, because that's sort of the differentiating point between what makes a good media streaming device and what makes a Kodi box. For one, this is Android TV. You have the full functionality of the Google Play Store. Here you're able to download games and applications. There are games that natively run on the Shield TV itself, whether it's with this remote or whether it's bundled with the NVIDIA controller itself as well. I don't have one of those, but it's fine because you can just use whatever controller you want. The best thing about this is that it has Bluetooth, and so you can actually just connect any controller you want, whether it be a PS4 controller or a Xbox One controller. You can even plug a keyboard and mouse into it. Like, the flexibility of this thing is awesome. As far as useful apps go, you can have things such as Plex, you can have a VPN running, you can put Kodi on it if you want. Amazon Prime, all that kind of normal bundled crap is all good, but we are in Australia and New Zealand, and that's the main question that we're going to be asking today is it actually worthwhile here? Because as much as, yeah, we can get Amazon Prime, but the membership sucks. We don't really get jack shit all for it here because it's New Zealand and licensing and all that kind of stuff, but that might be where kind of that comes in, but it's fine. There's still a lot more going on in this box that makes it a compelling purchase besides the fact that it has TV shows and movies. For example, game streaming is awesome. Like I said, you can connect an Xbox or PlayStation controller to it. NVIDIA actually have GeForce NOW, which is a game streaming system that allows you to stream a game from a server somewhere else in the world. It is a little bit hit and miss sometimes in New Zealand, I will admit. Your ping is quite high. So anything such as Fortnite, I would probably stay away from for multiplayer games. But as far as single player campaigns, there's a huge list of titles. So there are some titles you actually do have to pay for, but there are a lot of free to play options, such as Tomb Raider. You just hit play and then it connects to a server. We'll need to bear in mind you have to have reasonably high speed internet to be able to make this work. Regardless of how fast it is, you are going to notice that there is a huge amount of latency because the servers are not in New Zealand, or Australia for that matter. So regardless of it being an older title and the connection being quite low, you can see quite a large amount of latency. Still, kind of feels just like a console. You can also locally stream games too. So depending on what you have installed on your computer, as long as you have a compatible NVIDIA card, so I believe it's 10 series, I think 9 series can, but I will just confirm that. You can actually launch any game from your computer. There's a list of compatible titles on the NVIDIA website, but I've actually found you can kind of manually add anything you want to GeForce Experience and it will work. I have the Jackbox collection in here. For example, here's Destiny. Because it's streaming locally, there's next to no latency. Of course, I had to pick a title that needed an update. I would recommend using an Ethernet and cabled connection to be able to do the game stream. If you have a decent router, you should actually be okay. The latency itself is actually pretty negligible, mostly due to the fact that it is streaming over a local network. So, that's game streaming. As much as it does cost a premium, I would definitely put this in a bound where it is a premium product. I don't have too much hesitation paying a decent amount of money for something if I do get a decent experience out of it. With the NVIDIA Shield, that's definitely true. All in all, what this comes down to is, should you buy an NVIDIA Shield? Is it worthwhile in New Zealand? I think yes. My wife tends to agree with me on this. I bought it with my own money and I do not regret the purchase in the least. It's changed the way that we're able to watch TV. Regardless, even though we have a smart TV with built-in apps, the experience using the NVIDIA Shield is so much more fluid. Apps do load a lot faster. You have access to 4K 60 HDR through Netflix as well, which is awesome. So if you have a compatible TV, that's a good option for you. Same can be said with YouTube. The YouTube experience is also just as fluid, a lot nicer than using a built-in app on the TV. I've found a lot of the time they tend to crash, and I think just the flexibility to load any app you want if it's on the Android store. You do have a limited Google Play Store, so there are some apps that aren't allowed on here. You don't have the whole Google Play. However, there's some funny things that you can do with the particular web browser and a file explorer, and you can kind of just sideload whatever you want anyway. If it runs on Android, it'll run on this. But I don't want to go too much into what apps I've installed and what things I've hidden that shouldn't really be on here. This is basically what I would call the ultimate in-home media streaming device. You get kind of, it's got its foot in every bucket, so to speak. It's plug and play. A lot of the apps are actually pre-installed, such as your Netflix, your YouTube, your Amazon Prime, all those sort of things. They're all kind of there. You don't have to do too much apart from log in. You have game streaming, which is awesome, whether you want to stream from overseas or not, but I would definitely recommend using an Ethernet cable because it seems like my Wi-Fi's garbage today for some reason. And the game stream from your PC. That was the main selling point that I wanted this thing for. Being able to sit on the couch if need be and relax and play a game without having to lug anything around. If you've seen the size of my case, you'll understand why I don't want to move it. And so this was my solution. I originally tried with a Raspberry Pi using something called Moonlight, and it was okay, but I did find after about 10 minutes or so, you'd find your audio got out of sync and you just ran into like horrendous latency issues. I think NVIDIA's claims of being the most powerful streaming box is very true. Nothing seems to even come close to what it can do as far as snappiness and performance. Though, in saying that, how much performance do you really need and all that kind of stuff? Well, you don't really know until you've got it. I'm not meaning to like sound all preachy here and trying to sell you something. I just wanted to share my experience with it. It didn't seem like Michael seemed to enjoy it too much in his review, but we do have different opinions on that. I'm using it for a somewhat different use case. For me, it's perfect. I don't know what else I can really say about it. I honestly think if you are looking for something that is the be-all and end-all of home media streaming boxes, this is your answer. Like, I've been waiting for a while. I've tried so many different things, and finally I found one that's actually good at what it does. It does cost a lot more, but I feel like that price is actually somewhat justified with the features that it has that other streaming boxes do not. I hope you've enjoyed this video. This isn't me trying to sell you on a product, this is just me kind of giving you my opinion on it. I definitely think this is worthwhile as far as New Zealand and Australasia goes, even though you miss out on some of the performance benefits for the GeForce NOW streaming. If you have a decent internet connection, you can expect an okay experience out of it. But if you've enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and get subscribed. There's always more. If you leave a comment below, we will have a Steam code to give away randomly at some point. Yeah, so thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.